Yeah, if you've got problems as well, you can put your hand up and ask about problems. One of the quick, simple ideas that we did a long time ago was just get a small freezer and just buy some Chinese containers, put some food in it, put it in the freezer. If you don't have something ready to go to help somebody in need in an instant, how helpful are we? There's a question up the back from James. Food banks? Yep. Is there a question here first, or?
Oh, just a comment. I was just going to say most congregations have nurses in them, and most of them are aware of the needs at your local health service. But I know so many patients that are in hospital that don't have visitors, that are lonely, that end up in hospital because they just want to talk to somebody. But also they come in, they don't have toiletries, they don't have the basic needs for whilst they're there. So toothpaste, toothbrush, bar of soap, little things like that can make big differences to little people.
Whenever I show up in a community, my father and my mother were both elders in their local church. And so visiting was a really important part of my DNA as a pastor. When I show up in a community, the first thing that I do is I visit every member with the elders, and I organize the church to visit every member of that community. So one of the big things that you can do, I wanted to wear my shirt today, but I wore it so much it smelled bad and I didn't want to wash it. I wanted to wear my ACS shirt with volunteer on my arm. How powerful would it be? Roger, you know this because you know how to sell ice to an Eskimo. But how powerful would it be if you don't have a freezer, if you don't have an op shop, if you don't have a sewing ministry to make blankets, how powerful would it be if we're going to knock on a door and say, we're from Adventist Community Services, we're doing a wellness check. Are you okay? Do you need to talk to anyone? Is there anything that we can do to help? And that I believe does well. When I was in Port Macquarie is a very wealthy, older, established community. But we did wellness checks through the school, and that translated into 31 people making a decision to be baptized. Wow. And when I say it translated, meaning we were working with the homes of the children in the school and their relational stream. So if you don't have a freezer or a budget and you just got 6 members, 6 people can knock on doors and make that a part of your regular feature. Don't knock on a door and be crazy and Looney Tunes and say, hey, mate, you're in an investigative judgment and you're not going to make it, and I want to tell you what to do. I want to start with the 2,300 days, and then we'll work our way back to something else. Do not do that. That'll embarrass Adventist Community Services. You can call Kyle, ask him for a light script, an easy script, and just knock on doors and do wellness checks. My favorite thing to do.
Whenever you do a call out, is every instance need to be passed by the church board? Is there any way we can streamline it so that where there's a readiness team, we can just jump into gear and fulfil a task somewhere?
Yeah. So everything you do, you want to make sure you're covered by insurance where possible. So you need to have an Adventist Community Services leader. You need to have a board that is agreeable to what you're going to do. And one of the things we've done in the past, instead of saying we have a job on Sunday, can we get approval for this job? We give blanket approval to all jobs on all Sundays, knowing that a quick risk assessment has been done on the situation and the people operating the power equipment knows how to operate the power equipment, has been warned about safety measures, is wearing glasses, the basics. If you do the basics and then pass that by your board in a blanket fashion, like we are going to knock on doors for the next 12 months doing this, this, and this, get board approval for that, it will be covered by RMS insurance.
Thank you.
Justin mentioned food banks. Food bank is a wonderful opportunity where there's an organisation called Food Bank. It's a purple logo. It's Food Bank New South Wales ACT for this area. The headquarters, the warehouse is in Sydney. You can sign up for an account with Food Bank. You show them an insurance slip from RMS. You can talk to me about this, and then you just get your local board approval to do this. You can then purchase food at a discounted price, often free, bread, vegetables, some other things, usually like a pallet of watermelons, random things like that will be free. And then all you do is you sit on the website and you go shopping, and every few weeks I check in just to see what's good. And then when something is good and suitable for the services that you offer, you order it. Shipping is free currently from the New South Wales State Government. It's usually $50 a pallet. It's currently free. So You can order in your food, your equipment, your drinks, whatever it is that you want for your event. It'll be delivered on a pallet to your church. You then distribute that according to the rules of Food Bank, which is that you're not to personally profit. You can only charge whatever it takes to cover the cost of the expenses of what you're doing. But it's a very, very quick and easy way to access bulk food. Having a tinned can food drive where everybody pays full price at Coles and then puts it in a basket at church and then that gets donated somewhere, that's good for everybody getting involved. What would be better is if everybody put some money in that basket and you go and buy 5-cent tins at Food Bank instead of $1.50 tins at Coles. You'll get far more bang for your buck. You don't have to create a dependency thing where every single week you have to show up at the same time and give away food to the same people that become dependent upon you. You don't have to do that. You can order a $25 emergency supply box that's pre-packaged and stable on the food shelf stable, and you can just have that ready to go. When you find an emergency, when you find somebody that's eating dog food instead of human food, you have a box of food ready to give them. You don't have to then go and place an order and wait 2 weeks.
Yeah, Kyle, going back, I'm not sure if it's been mentioned today, but yesterday it was mentioned about your kids club Saturday, that type of thing. If you were looking at doing it that, you know, your church is obviously going to grow and the building will become too small, so then you'd then go looking for something like your idea at Queanbeyan, find a centre that will service you, that you can do that and all the other types of things in. Is that the direction you would go with that type of thing?
Yeah, there's a lot of churches that would have the capacity to expand the church itself, and then there's some churches where the buildings are falling down or the buildings don't exist. And to move to a model where the church can be open 7 days a week, where it can be a place where the community is, if that could be the future DNA of your church, then that would be a beautiful model. And Queanbeyan really has the essence of the starts of that. And so rather than just moving into a building that's exclusively just open on Sabbath, and then maybe once on a Wednesday night for a prayer meeting, why not make the community feel welcome in that space 6 days a week? It's not that hard to show up one more day and get a free lunch and come for the kids' camp. So it's just a beautiful model of structure.
Yep, thank you.
You know, a lot of the things that we're suggesting are for people that may not have a lot of means, right? People who are in financial crisis. But Adventist Community Services is for the entire community. So that includes the middle class, the low socioeconomic class, as well as the wealthy. And so one of the ways that you can reach that middle to upper class, if you're in that type of community, is to provide service opportunities, and that's through collaboration. Lions and Rotary, get with them and say, we have volunteers that can help with what you're doing with our Adventist Community Service. Another thing, provide an annual gathering. When I was in Chicago, Justin, we provided an event for the community, and we had 1,500 people show up. It might look like Road to Bethlehem. It might look like a passion, you know, the story of Jesus Christ's last days. I don't want to say passion because I know that's Catholic, but what I want to suggest to you is that you, once per year, every year you give a report in your local church, right? Well, what if you reported? What if your church answered to the community? What if you go to the local shire meeting, or you go to the police force and you bring music? You know, Naramai's done so incredible with the music each night. What if you say, we're going to have our community report at the community gathering, and when you make that report, you say, we did 1,221 wellness checks in our community. We were able to provide food for 3,800 people. We were able, and you provide that report in the town square to the community with music, maybe some ice cream, maybe some donuts. Phil was showing me how to make donuts today. I think every church should have a donut maker. Now, don't do it right before a wellness meeting, or, you know, you don't want to do chip and that donuts at the same time. But see a key for me. And I believe this, and I learned this in Australia. I did not learn this in North America or East Africa or the United Kingdom. I learned this in Australia. See the church as a responsible stakeholder to the community and answer to the community. Send a report of what you've done for the year or the quarter to your mayor or to the councilman or the member of parliament and let them know you are fully prepared to accomplish the goals that are in the best interest of the citizens. I'll say this. This is a saying I made all of the seminary students learn when I taught at the seminary. Do not aim for the church. Aim for the city. Because when you aim for the city, you reach the members of the church. But if you aim for the church, you'll reach no one.
Excellent. There's another question.
Just a experience of mine. As you know, I was working at planning a church here in Jindabyne. I was chaplain for the op shop, Uniting Church op shop in town for 3 years. And come the winter time, the town tripled in value, in number. And we had lots of people coming to the op shop. And the op shop used to do 2 meals each week at night time. And Terry's still making pots of soup for our Terry here. AOV still making pots of soup for the op shop there. And the op shop attracts people that have needs right across the board. And our op shops and their op shop was doing quite well, but we need to be holistic. The op shop just is a funding source and attracts those that have various needs, relationships, meals, accommodation, mental health, whole lots of stuff. And so our op shops could be a full centre of influence that can meet the needs of those people. As well as that, being the chaplain there, they pleaded for me to be their chaplain because they didn't have somebody to do that. And so I was praying with people, and I'd sit and talk to people. They'd open their hearts and that. And what an opportunity to pray with them and to take them on their journey with God.
What Pastor Ben has mentioned, the collapse of Christianity. We're living through it in this country where the old Protestant denominations they're lamenting there's no young people, there's no one to take their sermons, there's no one to help with their church service. That's a different day for us, that we can come alongside them. We don't go in there and preach the mark of the beast, and then we just go in there and do a sermon on Romans 5, or we share Matthew, and we just support them as fellow Christians, as the larger church, the body of Christ that's outside our denomination. You're making so many friends and therefore influencing another point of contact that you're able to preach a gospel-based sermon in these other churches. They are in desperate need in so many communities. Kyle and I went and looked through. Did you come with me and look at that church? No, it was Tom. There's a whole big cathedral for sale in a little country town, Presbyterians. No one left. And the whole site, 5 acres in town, the most prominent church in town, for $900,000 have the whole thing. And we haven't got enough money for it at the moment, but we'd love to put an Adventist sign out the front. But it's sad to see the collapse of Christianity in Australia. And trust me, it is collapsing. And we can come alongside these other churches and just support them as a pure act of kindness. We don't have to make them all Adventists. That's God's job. Our job is to demonstrate the gospel to them. The other thing too, and there's a question at the back. I'll just make this before I keep forgetting. I got a call the other day from one of my dog trialling mates. His wife's left him. And, I said, we normally talk dogs, but I said, mate, if it wasn't for Jesus, I'd be in jail. And he said, well, I need Jesus too then. Relationships at every level of our society, the rich, the middle, the poor, they're under terrible strain. How you can engage in supporting marriages is a massive thing as well. John, you got a question up the back there.
I actually don't have a question. I have a comment in regards to the op shop here in Jindabyne. last year, our family had experienced a fire just before big camp, and the love that was poured on our family. My daughter walked into that op shop 5 minutes before they were to close their doors for the day and explained who we were and what had happened. The lady that met me, my daughter came and she said, "Mum, it's going to be okay. They're going to look after us." We had no winter clothes for our kids. The lady looked at me and she said, "You look like you need a hug." And she hugged me. That is the type of people we need to be in our community. And they stayed open and they said, "It is covered. There is no charge."
Yeah, that's powerful. I tell you, Kyle, if I had a background in marketing, I would take a powerful story like that and do a short commercial for local television and for social media ads, and then at the end say, "We're Australian Community Services, here for you." That's what I do.
We've loaded poor Kyle up with various stuff.
And if you need any plumbing or tradie work, call Kyle. If you need marriage counseling, call Kyle. If you need a roof, call Kyle. That's basically our solution.
That's one of the 5 pillars of Stormco.
Yep. Stormco's a beautiful thing. I've been on 7 trips. I grew up in the church with Jerry Unza, who helped Mel Lemke get that thing started. Unfortunately, there's some Stormco trips that we know of that go to towns that believe we're Lutherans because we sleep in the Lutheran church. Unfortunately, we've got no strings attached as one of the pillars, but unfortunately, we've got so few strings attached that they attach strings for us to other churches, and so we're doing other churches really proud by running some of these Stormco trips. So simply branding is not a string attached. It's just saying we're Adventist, but there's no strings attached. We're still here to serve. We're still here to love you and be God's hands and feet in your community.
Just a question. I'm just thinking, because I come from the Fiji, from the islands, and setting up a op shop, it's quite expensive. Have you ever tried, I'm just asking for your experience, I'm thinking mobile and visiting villages, setting up, my wife's a nurse, like check up, health check and thing, something like that. Have you ever done that? Is there any experience on a mobile setup with Adventist community service from village to village?
I've got photos of trailers, mobile disaster relief trucks and mobile thrift stores from the United States where they have big enough organizational hubs that they can stock and resource a trailer and then go and visit the places of need. Unfortunately, we are so fractured in our services in the church in Australia that when a disaster strikes, we then start looking for a solution. So we're not fully prepared. And I have some dreams and ideas about how we can get fully prepared, but it's completely possible and we should be doing it. Nowadays, with this cheap fashion where things are thrown out every 3 months and there's a new range of clothing in, it doesn't seem so hard to get clothing in Australia. It's often food that we run out of money to buy more food. But it makes sense to at least have some emergency clothing for somebody who needs clothing. But we can get more organised and be more prepared to be able to serve in times of disaster.
The sky's the limit with the medical stuff. I counted 3 doctors here the other night in our tent, the local Adventist doctors. Heaps of nurses. What we could offer in a given community in that space is quite incredible if we got organised.
And there is, most health departments have resources to be able to do community health checks. I believe that's actually something that apparently Cooma would benefit from greatly if we were to show up and do a free community health check. And what's the name of there's a program, a system, you put in there all their data and it spits out your health age. Elia Wellness is the current health brand of the South Pacific Division, but there's been systems for a long time within Adventism where we help people understand their health age and then give them resources on how to improve their health as a bridge towards healthy living.
And I'll say this, because I think it sounds like we're getting close to time. I can see you all. I heard somebody's tummy grumbling as I was walking by. But when right now, and I've shared this with our Australian shepherd, Justin Lawman and Kyle, we are faced with a mission field in Australia. We're faced, right now, we are ineffective at reaching second-generation migrants in Australia, meaning the children of those that came to this country. And we are ineffective at reaching Australian-born and indigenous Australian-born persons, First Nation persons. It is the same in the United States of America. It's the same in the United Kingdom. As a matter of fact, one social scientist suggests that what happened to the church in the UK is happening in Australia, and it will happen. There's about 20 years difference between the UK and Australia, and about a 10-year difference, double the accelerated rate of decline of reaching Americans. So that's one thing I always share in the seminary. So as you're organizing for mission, I want you to start considering, we need mission trips to Fiji and Vanuatu and the Solomon Islands and Papua New Guinea. We need those things. We also need mission trips to Jindabyne. We also need mission trips to Kuma and Yas and all of these other incredible Southland communities. And what I believe is happening in New South Wales is you're seeing your territory as a viable mission field. And I'll tell you this quick story. A man went into a community, a region, another part of the world, and he was responsible for selling shoes. And the people there did not wear shoes. So he wrote back, he said, there's no business here because no one here wears shoes. I'm coming home. Another person from that business went into the same territory and he wrote back, send more shoes. No one here wears shoes, so we've got a lot of business in front of us. And so what I want to suggest to you is that as you organize for mission, see your brothers and sisters also in your territory as missional recipients.
We'll have a quick word of prayer to close, and we'll go to lunch. Father, we thank you for the wonderful possibilities that lie before us. Please continue to inspire hearts and minds as we seek for your will in our lives and how we can be a blessing, how we can be your hands and feet in our communities, Lord. Help us to be here to serve, like Mark 10:45 says, for even the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve and to give his life as a ransom for many, Lord. Help us to look at our lives differently. When we wear the merchandise, help us to consider the impact that we have on the lives of those around us in the communities that we exist in. And Father, please have your way in our lives and through our churches, in our communities. Amen.